Are you sure you're ready?
Bonesaw is ready.
Bonesaw's ready. Hey, we're live, man. See how I
Oh
did?
my.
Did you see how I did that? I went
Just
into it.
smooth like butter.
Yeah, I went into it while we were talking, so that it was more casual.
Really?
It was pretty slick, I think.
You went live without telling me we were going live.
Yeah,
Is what you're saying.
no countdown or anything. I just did it.
You've abused my trust.
I just did it, man. It was crazy. Felt good
Can't
too.
work like this. I can't work like this.
These conditions are hostile. No,
I quit.
I'm done.
This is like the 10th time I've quit, but this time I mean it.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm dandy. I'm just great. How are you?
Dude.
That's the question.
I'm doing pretty well, actually. I had a calc exam today, and I took it and I just wrecked it. I felt really good about it. I felt like I did a really good job, so it makes me really happy.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
You're happy. I'm happy.
I'm like a wife.
Well, pretty much. I mean, you like Taylor Swift, so you're already.
Whoa.
Hey, man.
Shots fired.
Just calls it like I sees it.
Hey guys, welcome to another Journey to 30. We are sorry about last week. There's a lot of reasons why last week went wrong, but it went wrong, so...
Economy, global war,
Obama!
Obama, ISIS.
ISIS, oh my goodness. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why that happened. So, we do apologize for that. But you know what? That's what we do. We're the, adopted child podcast of the T-Force Network, and we screw up a lot, so...
I think Pone keeps us around because he feels sorry for us.
Yeah, exactly. So we try and bring you what we can, but we are live today, and it's just us two.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
And if you don't like it tough.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're sorry. We tried to convince Cheer to come on, but he wasn't feeling too hot, so that's all good. But of course, talking about the usual stuff. You know, last week we didn't really talk, but 2 weeks ago we talked about Jungle. We do recommend, of course, you go watch that over at www.youtube.com/T-Force Podcast. Of course, check that out. Talked about Jungle. We had Declawed on? No, we had Cheer. We had Cheer on. And yeah, it was fun. It was good. It was long, so be prepared for a long cast because it is intense and it's heavy. So that's that. And so this week's champ rotation, just jump into that. We're going to take a little bit of extra time in this week's champ rotation just because, we finished with the roles and we're starting to get into a little bit more advanced topics. Today we're going to cover some supplementary content. So champs that are our free week and champs we recommend. Caitlyn is free week, which is good. She's a really strong AD carry, really easy.
Yeah, we pretty much recommend Caitlyn whenever she comes up because she is super easy to play.
Yeah, if you want a good introduction to AD carry, you play Caitlyn because she's crazy straightforward.
Yep, and that Headhunter Caitlyn skin is badass.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. In fact, I think they just did a general splash update for a lot of things. Maybe not splash, but a texture update at least for a lot of champions.
Yeah, they did.
I think she was one of them. But yeah, Caitlyn. We also got Ezreal. For those of you looking for a little bit of a different AD carry, Ezreal's pretty good. He's pretty straightforward, got a lot of skill shots, so you'll learn pretty quick. And he's fun. Like, a lot of people hate on Ezreal because he's kind of like a feminine type male character, but generally he's a good, strong, fun character.
I used to not like Ezreal, and not because he kind of looks like Meg Ryan, but I can't remember why I didn't like him.
You liked him?
There's a reason.
You didn't like him because of his E, his arcane shift.
No, it wasn't even that. It was like, I think because when I first started playing, I think everyone was like Ezreal. I think that was around also around when Blue Ezreal became popular, and I was just like, oh, he's popular. I don't like this guy. And then he was free in a free week, and I got him in an ARAM. And played him and went, oh, he's super fun. That's why people like him.
Yeah.
So I've come around on Ezreal.
Mm-hmm. He's also really versatile because you can play him as AP or AD, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But he did just get a kind of slight buff to his AD side, and I think honestly that's because Worlds is coming up and they want Ezreal to be picked, so they gave him a 5%. No, I'm sorry, they gave him a 1% longer passive. Which, for those of you who don't read patch notes, we're going to go into that, but they kind of buffed him up a little bit. So
Are they going to be playing on the new patch of Worlds?
they should be, yeah, they should. When Worlds comes around, I don't know actually,
Because
maybe
they're
not.
still like way behind, and
I don't
it
know.
would. It seems like it would be kind of crazy if they like updated right before the finals. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But
Well, yeah, the tournament server is always a patch behind, but I don't know if they're gonna be using this new patch. I would assume so because Azir got a lot of bug fixes, and that was definitely mandatory. And if Riot wants to see Azir in Worlds, then they're gonna have to be running this patch.
yeah, and it's not like they haven't before. Wasn't it last year when they like buffed Trinity Force like
Yeah.
halfway through, and
Yep.
everyone started playing Corki again?
Yeah. So that's that. We also got Gragas, who, for you ARAM players or you top lane players, definitely look into Gragas. He's really strong. He's really fun. And, a lot of the champions actually this week are pretty strong and pretty fun. And he's a good top lane champion. A lot of you might think he's a mid laner, but he has really good sustain, which is why he thrives and succeeds in the top lane. And he also does percent health, which is scaling and really strong.
Yep.
We got Casadino. We're going to go ahead and tell you not to play him because he's pretty tough.
He is tough, and I, I kind of feel bad for him because he keeps eating nerfs.
Yeah.
I think he's still really strong, or potentially can be strong. But like he's one of those champions. I don't think Riot fully knows what to do with him because he was just like perma-banned for so long. Like kept nerfing him and nerfing him. Now I don't think he's banned anymore. But yeah, he is fun. But yeah, like you said, he's tough.
Yeah. I love Kassadin. I played him a lot this season. I was actually like 10-0 and ranked with him. I was winning games nonstop with him when he wasn't, pick or ban. When he wasn't banned all the time. But as soon as they changed him and nerfed him, it wasn't as good anymore. But we also got Pantheon, who really good top laner. Word to Claude on, he would definitely sing the praises of Pantheon. You could play him
Yeah.
top, you could play him mid, you could play him jungle. He's pretty versatile, pretty fun. He does kind of fall off into the late game, but generally a good, fun champion
Yeah, he's awesome.
with a lot of strategy around him. One of my least favorite champions, Renekton.
Oh,
is
you don't
also
like
pretty-
Renekton?
I hate Renekton, dude.
He is. I like Renekton.
He's stupid
He's-
strong.
I still think he's king of the top lane. He's not probably as king as he used to be, but man, he's so strong.
Yeah, he's really strong. Those of you looking to learn top lane, definitely pick him up because having him, even if you don't want to play him like me, I don't want to play him, but I needed to learn him so that I could learn how to play against him. So
Yes.
if you're like me and you hate champions that are just stupid broken and they just piss you off, and you just don't want to play a champion that's stupid broken, then at least learn the champion so you know how to play against him. But yeah, he's really strong and he's free right now as well. Trundle is free as well. He's pretty good.
I haven't touched Trundle ever. I haven't bought him. Nothing against him. He's one of those champions I haven't got around to trying out. But I like his design. I like what he does.
He's an interesting champion conceptually. He's a lot like an off tank. He does good damage, but his primary role in a 5v5 game is the slow and the attack damage decrease on his Q, which is his chomp, and then his pillar, which we call the penis, or I call the penis. When he drops his penis, he drops his pillar. That thing can disrupt a lot of stuff. So it is a disrupt and an interrupt. So it will move people. So you can interrupt like a cat ult or a channel from somebody. So there's that aspect to him. And he's just fun. Like he's got a good heal. His ultimate is really strong. He steals health and resistances, so he's a really good top laner. He's also good from the jungle. He provides good ganks and really strong, beefy tankiness.
It's funny when I was learning this game, his pillar ability, because I didn't know anything, it seemed like such a useless ability. Like, okay, he pops up a pillar, doesn't really do much damage. You just walk around it. Like, how useful is that?
Yeah.
And then you get to know how to play this game, and you find out how disruptive it is and how much you can do with it. It's pretty great.
Although it is on one of the longest cooldowns for an interrupt like that. I think it's sitting at I want to say like 17 seconds. Maybe pushing to 20. Anyway, it's ridiculously high. Kind of needlessly high. But, I mean, he's still strong, so, give him a try if you're learning the top lane in the jungle. So we got Viger as well. I want to recommend Viger. He's just very technical. There is a certain way of playing him that requires a certain amount of skill and practice. If you are interested in him, give him a play because he is incredibly fun. His animations, his entire theme is just really cool. It's fun. It's exciting, but he is incredibly technical when it comes to landing his event horizon, his stun, and then an entire combo thereafter is completely dependent on whether or not you land that event horizon. So
yeah, and you got to be able to time his what's it called, dark matter, because that's got a pretty decent delay on it, and also you got to get decent with farming with your Q to get your AP stacks up. Because if you don't know, every time he kills a unit with his Q, he gets +1 AP like permanently added.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm pretty much with you on this. He's a lot of fun to play. He just requires a little bit of thought and a little bit of mechanical know-how to figure out how to use him properly.
Yeah. And then moving on to Xin. Oh my goodness, Xin.
I'm not very good with Xin. I've only played him a few times, but I've seen people just destroy with Xin.
Yeah, the awesome thing about Xin, and a lot of people when you're looking at Xin, you'll also think of like Master Yi. They're kind of similar. They're really good at picking someone and just wrecking their crap. But the thing that Xin can do that Master Yi cannot is CC and provide some tankiness while at it. So, in my opinion, Xin is he's an incredible jungler. I think he's better than Yi at jungling. Definitely better than Yi at jungling, and he just provides more for the team. His early game is ridiculous. Xin has been known for a very long time to be one of the strongest early game champions. As soon as he hits 3 and he ganks a lane, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a kill because of his knock up and because of his lifesteal. He's just a really strong champion in general. So for you junglers out there learning Xin, you wanna learn how to carry and be an incredible support to your team as well. Pick up Xin because he can do everything that Master Yi can do out of the jungle and then provide a little bit more.
Yep.
And then Zillion, who has actually been surprisingly pretty flavor the last couple months.
It's weird how this game works. I remember watching the LCS not that long ago and just kind of randomly thinking I wonder if I'm ever going to see Zillion. He seems I doubt it. I don't think anybody's going to pick him because why would they? And now he's getting picked a lot.
Yeah, he's annoying, but he's cool. He's really strong in ARAMs.
Really weird champion. Yeah, ARAMs. He's super good.
Well, he's a support. So if you're looking to pick up a more interesting kind of oddball support, then Zillion is pretty interesting. He provides no real support supplement to your AD carry aside from the movement speed and the slow. But in all honesty, you either have to choose giving movement speed or a slow. And that is really the only thing that you bring to your AD carry. So your 1 to 6 is going to be really rough. And even thereafter 6 is going to be pretty tough unless you know how to poke with your bombs. So I don't want to recommend Zillion to support players, but don't re-roll him if you get him on ARAMs and you're playing ARAMs because he's pretty dang strong on ARAMs.
Yep. Yeah, those bombs, you get a lot of kills pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And his ult is, you bring someone back to life again. I mean, it's not hard to see why that's as powerful as it is.
Yeah. Oh, but a fun fact I will mention about Zillion. If you have... so a lot of you players have probably come familiar with the term Grievous Wounds. Grievous Wounds reduces the amount of healing done on a champion by some odd percent. Frequently it's 50%. Well, Zillion's ultimate is affected by Grievous Wounds. So, say you ignite someone as they die, and they have Zillion Resurrect on them, they will resurrect with less health.
I did not know that.
Yep. I found that out the other day from Reddit, and I don't know if it's actually true because I haven't actually done it, but it seemed to have some backing to it, and a lot of people had upvoted it, so I think it might actually be true. But yeah, so give that a test and let me know if it is actually true. If it's not, it's not. I'm sorry, but I don't really see a whole lot of Zillion. So yeah, if you can apply Grievous Wounds to a player before they die to Zillion Bomb, or before they die and get resurrected, they will respawn with less health.
That seems weird because this whole thing is you were dead and now you're not, and it seems like once you die, you should any status effects you've got on you should be wiped, and you should just come back with whatever the level of that ult is.
Well, I know it also applies to. Aatrox. If you ignite him or Grievous Wounds him before he uses his blood, his blood pool passive,
Yeah.
he will resurrect with less health, and that I know is true. But I'm not sure with some of the other champions. I'm not sure with Zac, although I would assume that if you ignited Zac before he went to his blob form, he would resurrect with less health. But that's
Yeah, I guess
an
I'm
interesting
thinking.
test.
I'm thinking more just thematically, which doesn't always apply to this game, just because
Yeah.
Zac's still technically alive when he comes back, and Aatrox kind of is too. But with Zillion, that person's dead and he's resurrecting them, which again, that's just me thinking lore and if he comes back from the dead, he should be completely renewed. But yeah, whatever.
That's okay. Well, I mean, his ultimate does only resurrect a certain amount of health,
Yeah.
scaling up into the end. But that is the champ rotation for you guys. Feel free to leave any comments on how you played with those champions to us. Any feedback you have for them, anything we might have missed. If you think that a champion should be recommended, feel free to let us know as well. So today, we're going to talk about something a little bit different than normal. We're going to talk about supplementary content. And this kind of spiked, the idea kind of spiked, last night. My friend, who not super new to the game anymore, but surprised me when he was reading patch notes. It just caught me off guard because I didn't think that new players read patch notes. So I think it's actually brilliant. You should read patch notes. So we're going to talk about supplement sources for League of Legends, where to go for those sources, who to look for, who to look to when people are giving advice, aside from your people here at T-Force, and some good sites for you to frequent when you're playing this game or wanting to know more about specifics.
Absolutely.
So, of course, we're going to recommend the T-Force podcast because, we're a network. We're a pretty big network when you look at it. There's 4 different casts. You got T-Force proper, you got the LCS Rundown, you got OzLOL, you have us. You have a lot of different sources from T-Force willing to give you advice. All of them have emails, have League of Legends accounts, have Twitters that you could talk to and ask us questions about it. So if you ever have any questions that you want answered immediately, you have a multitude of people, at least over 20 people that you can tweet at or email, and we will get back to you on that. So, of course, we're going to recommend us as a good source.
Also, Adam said if we don't mention the T-Force podcast first, he was going to beat us.
Yeah, and I don't want to get beaten. He'll fly out here and whoop my ass, and I don't.
He
want
does
that.
it a lot. He gets really mad. I just don't want him to hit me again.
So good.
It's that Kentucky rage.
It's that Southern rage, man. Those Southerners get so pissed off.
I know, right? I'm from Canada. I don't understand any of that.
Yeah, you're so nice all the time. You quit and
Actually, I think about it. I yell at you a lot. So I don't think I could really say like, "Oh, I'm Canadian. I'm a nice guy," because I've kind of proved that I'm not.
it's okay.
Although it's always done out of love. So I'm like,
Wow, way to make it gay.
well, look, man, I can't help the way I feel. All right.
So yeah, you have us. You have us, and one of our good friends that we always want to recommend, Surrender at 20.
Movie.
Movie. We've recommended them, I think, once or twice on the show, and T-Force proper. They talk about them pretty
Are there
frequently.
clowns driving by your place?
Ah, shoot! I need to close that. No, I live in not exactly the nicest location.
Do you live like in a circus? Are you
No.
sure you don't live in a circus?
It's one of the Mexican stands going around my apartment complex, blowing their horn, saying, "Hey, come get some food if you want some."
That actually sounds pretty good.
So, that is that. Sorry, I just closed that. I didn't. I'm surprised you're able to hear that. My mic is super sensitive.
It is pretty sensitive. Also, I'm half Mexican, so maybe I could just sense there was like Mexican food nearby.
So, Surrender at 20, please check them out, guys. They are amazing. They give you so much stuff. Like, they have articles. They talk about when rioters talk. They talk about the PvE. They have skins that like pop out on the PvE. They got leaks. They have esport. They have freaking contents. Like, you want to win something, you can go there too.
That is a great site. You could. We're suggesting you do limit yourself to just reading that site, but if you did, like, that would be a good site to pick because they have so much information. That I'm surprised MooBeat isn't just like collapsing from the amount of work he does and the other people do keeping that place updated.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Very impressed by their work over there. I mean, I browse them all the time. Like, if I'm kind of bored in my electronics class, I'll get on Surrender 20 and see what's new on the PvE, or check to see any updates on like splashes or anything like that. So, definitely go check them out, guys. And last, kind of like, well, this is kind of a topic that we want to kind of really talk about, and it kind of sparked this whole thing, is patch notes. You guys have gotten to the point where you've been playing this game long enough to where it's now important for you to read patch notes.
Yes.
It is legitimately important for you to read patch notes. Like, not mandatory, highly, highly recommended, though.
Riot changes stuff pretty frequently. That's actually one of the things I like. Like, coming from StarCraft 2, like, Blizzard is pretty slow with their updates. I don't know how it compares to, like, World of Warcraft. I haven't played a lot of that, but Riot seems to be way more on top of taking care of things. Sometimes maybe some people might say a little bit too on point with some changes, but things change pretty frequently in this game. Sometimes they're small changes, sometimes they're huge, but if you're not paying attention to patch notes, at the very least, like, giving them a skim for, champions you play, you could miss some pretty huge news.
Yeah, it's important because when you're learning the game and you want to see what's happening in the game, like, everything is always changing, like you said, and we have to, as players, and you want to be good at the game, we have to be always thinking about, like, what's changing in the game, whether that's champions getting changed or items getting changed. Like, for those of you who don't know, in the most recent patch notes, Randuin's Omen just got buffed by 5% on the attack speed slow. Not that Randuin's Omen wasn't already pretty much mandatory on every team, but now if it's not bought, you're at a serious detriment because AD carries are so strong, especially in the late game. Like, if you didn't read that, you wouldn't know that, oh my goodness, Randuin's Omen's got buffed, and it's now more cost-effective, and that's a big deal, like a very big deal. And that's just like one small example. That's one item out of the hundreds of items and the hundreds of champions that you needed to know. Like, that's an important topic. So read the patch notes, and in particular, there's a patch note video that they do. It's called TLDR Patch Notes. For those of you that browse Reddit a lot, they always, always, always make it to the front page of the subreddit League of Legends. Guaranteed, if they have a new video out, they will be in the front page. So if you see them, just watch them. It's like 4 minutes every single time.
Yeah. The other thing you might have missed is Scion's not garbage anymore. He's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, except for that unstoppable, like, that charge. I see so many people mess that up. It's
Yeah.
so funny. They're like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna sidestep. I'm gonna go right past you. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna hit your turret. I'm gonna die now.
It's pretty amusing. You know, Clyde mentioned something on Twitter like a couple of weeks ago. He said Scion and Alistar should switch ults, and that actually makes total sense considering Alistar is a huge bull.
It's funny.
Scion's just a big angry man.
All I see it as, I just think, choo choo, motherfucker. And he's just like booking it.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome now.
Ain't no brakes on the Scion train. But yeah. So, and that's all stuff that you would find out just looking at patch notes. His patch, like, his thing hasn't actually been released yet, I don't think. I don't think the new Scion is actually available, is it? I know
in the client, it's showing new Scion.
Oh, yeah, it's showing this splash art, so maybe he has gotten it. But I knew when I looked at it that it was coming, so I don't know.
Okay.
Is traditional Scion still a skin? Oh, come on! You can't change a champion and not give us the traditional skin. Like, that's not cool. Like, I have traditional Karma, I have traditional Sejuani, I have traditional Trundle. Like, those skins are classic.
I wonder if they're gonna add that at some point. Just like take the old. I wonder if they took it out just because like his model is like so much bigger now. They almost kind of changed him.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, read the patch notes.
Patch notes.
Read the damn patch notes. It's like warding. You should just do it. Like, just do it, man. Just do it, dude. Just do it. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it. Do it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna give you some streamers to watch. Kind of not the best segue I've ever done, but
No.
but
hey, it's probably also not the worst.
That's true. Hey, streamers!
Segue.
Segue. Anyway, streamers. Why you should watch streamers, first and foremost. Why should you watch streamers?
Well, because a lot of the time they know a decent amount about the game. A lot of the streamers probably who rise to popularity, for the most part, are pretty good. And the best ones I find are the ones that will actually take the time to explain why they're doing what they're doing. For example, actually, I learned about this dude not from streaming, but YouTube. He does stream now more than he used to, but his name's Fusa. I think I've actually mentioned him before. Fusaah. He's on YouTube. And the best thing that this guy does is he's really good at explaining how champions work. Like when I was learning the game and I'd want to try out new champions, I would watch one of his videos because he goes through all the abilities, describes how they work, and also when you want to use them, and that's while he's playing the game. Someone like that is so helpful just for getting your head around a champion. Like you can kind of muddle through it yourself if you just go into a custom game and play against some bots, but having things explained to you is super helpful when you're trying to learn.
Yeah, definitely. And streamers is good to watch because you'll start to learn about a champion when you watch it. Like, you may not know exactly what Soraka does. You'll see her around, but be like, oh yeah, Soraka. Yeah, I know she does this heal thing. I know she drops this thing on the ground, and if you're in it, you're all silenced and stuff. But you don't know the range. You don't know the cooldown. You don't know, and that's stuff that you learn by playing, but also stuff that you learn by watching a stream. So
yeah, you also may not know how what order to upgrade your abilities in.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of the stuff, you can just Google and stuff, but it's a lot more fun to learn from somebody that's talking about it, and you'll watch them make mistakes, and you'll watch them do things right, and you'll see all the things that come into play when a game actually is happening. You know, we could all be theoretical about how to play a champion just by talking about it, but when you're actually in the game, things may change. So I recommend streamers, and Fusa in particular. He has a lot of good content and talks to his watchers, and that's important.
Yep.
So, of course, we're going to recommend LCS players because they are technically the best. I am personally the best, but they are the best. So, watch them because they're really good. And a few to keep in mind. Cutie Pie he's a really good player, and he's down to earth. He knows what he's talking about. He is informative and fun and entertaining, and that's
And
all.
he's got the best hair.
He has the best hair, and it's really that's all really important when it comes to streaming. You want to keep them, you want to keep a viewer entertained. Probably not something that we do here.
Yeah, I know, right? Again, like Pwn, I think people tune in because they feel bad for us.
Yeah, probably. They definitely feel bad for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch Cutie Pie. Skara, he's another one of those good players. Not as well known as Cutie Pie, probably to a lot of you. But Skara's really good. And Hotshot GG, another one of those players. He's been around for a really long time.
Yes.
And he definitely knows his way around League of Legends. So watch him. He intends to stream a lot more frequently now. So that's going to be a solid source of information for you guys as well.
Shifu in the chat just mentioned Crepo or Afromu.
Yeah.
If you're trying to learn support, and I agree entirely. Those guys are great.
Afromu's awesome. He's a really cool guy.
Yep.
Of course, always watch T-Force podcast. Sometimes we stream games. I know Pwn likes to stream his ranked 5s games when he gets around to actually doing it. I know Wrecker N sometimes streams on this channel for solo queue. If you want to learn how to jungle from somebody that really knows his shit, Wrecker definitely knows his stuff. He's no longer with the podcast, although sometimes frequently joins T-Force proper or may show up on their ranked 5s. But he's a solid player. Knows what he's talking about.
That guy will jungle any character, and he'll somehow make it work.
I've seen him jungle Janna, and it's bullshit. He's ridiculous.
I don't know how he works. He's got some sort of mojo going there that's just watch how he plays. Maybe don't pick the champions he picks, but he's good.
He has a really good understanding of how the jungle works, really good. And it's pretty solid. And he's not afraid to call someone out when they screw up. And that's pretty important. He's definitely called me out on some of my stuff before, and it's definitely helped me. So, if T-Force is streaming, watch that. Victorious Gaming, they are live all the time. I used to be a lot more, part of them. As of late, not so much, pretty much not at all because of school and you guys, you're turning 30, but that's okay. They have a lot of good content. They usually stream tournaments with some semi-organized 5v5s, which is pretty cool. And that will give you a good look into what's going on in the game. So,
yeah. They're also, they mentioned it on the T-Force proper, but playing in those tournaments is another good way of progressing, and they're pretty easy to get into.
Yeah, but you do have to be 30 for that. So you have to be 30, and you have to be ranked, which is another important part. So you got to do your 10 provisionals. And
yes, that's right.
Yeah, you do have to get placed. And no duos or anything like that. You go in by yourself, and you have the chance to win some RP and a cool Victorious Rise skin. Triumphant Rise, I'm sorry. No, Victorious Rise. No, it's Triumphant Rise, because Victorious skins are from Victorious, so... It's Triumphant Rise, and that's a rare skin. It's actually worth a lot. So, yeah, go there. And then last but not least, Night Blue. He's not a professional player, I don't think. Is he? I don't think so.
Not that I can think of.
No, I don't think. I don't really know Night Blue all that much. I usually, if I'm watching a stream, it's either VG or the LCS or an LCS streamer. So, but Night Blue, apparently he's really good and informative, really funny. And he talks to his streamers as well. So we were told to recommend him as well for those of you looking for stream. And I really like just watching stream when I'm eating. I love just watching streamers while I'm eating.
Yeah,
food.
I do the same thing.
Or I'll
also,
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you.
You mentioned LCS. Worlds is actually... Finals are almost here, but, while the LCS season is in full swing, That's a great thing to watch.
Yep.
You got a lot of good commentary. The guys that got doing commentary are great at not only calling the games but explaining things.
To an
Riv
extent.
and Kobe are the best.
They are good at explaining things to an extent. They assume that you have a general understanding of
Yes,
the game.
that's true.
So it's not exactly new player friendly, and you're going to see a lot of concepts in the LCS that you're not going to understand. So it's like take it with a grain of salt. Like know that what you're watching is the top end professional play, and you cannot. And I promise you, on my freaking life, you cannot repeat what they do. I can't even repeat what they do. I've been playing this game for 5 years. You can't do what they do. So don't try and do the crazy builds or the crazy stunts that they pull, because it's not possible.
There's a
Just
reason when people talk about normal players insecing, it's usually not, oh, he did it real well. It's usually he tried to insect and he died.
and he freaking like LCS is good to watch if you're really like wanting to learn some higher end or you're just interested in the professional scene. But again, always take it like know that you can't do what they do. You may be able to learn some things and you'll get some good entertainment out of it, but don't try and repeat what they do in there because you're just going to mess up and you're going to piss off some other people.
Yeah.
I promise you. I guarantee you because it's happened to me. So those are your streamers that we recommend, at least. Okay, so build websites. Of course, you've heard of us talk about looking up builds when you're picking up a new champion or when you're starting to become more familiar. You want to take your game to the next level. What should I build on this champion? So we're going to recommend 3 really big ones. Mobify being the first one, also being one of the first actual build websites that was introduced to League.
Yeah. I do want to mention with Mobifire, make sure you look at the date that build
Yes.
was made because however their rating system works, I've seen where like you click on a champion and their top build was made in like 2013
Or
with
2012.
yeah, like sometimes those items that are in the build aren't even in the game anymore. So that's just something you want to pay attention to.
Definitely. But Mobify is awesome, and all of these websites are awesome. They give you masteries, they give you builds, they give you things that you should level. A lot of them have pros and cons of a player. Some of them even go into depths of like, hey, these are the stats. These are like what you should be aware of. Okay, you really start to get rolling with Kale once you hit like level 7. Her attack speed really starts to pick up. Like sort of things like that. Like
Yeah, some of the best guides on there, they have like whoever made the guide has written paragraphs of information like how you play that champion, how you use your combo. Like it's a good site for getting even a little bit more than just the item builds.
One that recently is not as old as Mobify or Solo Mid. Solo Mid's another one of those classic build sites that are have been around for a while. But ProBuilds.net is one of the newer ones, and they've gained a lot of popularity recently. They're pretty good. They have solid builds and all that good stuff. Good content. I think they have like good comments on the builds too. So you get a lot of feedback on builds.
Yeah, and they're good to see what the pros are playing and what builds are winning. Again, like we mentioned with the LCS, you can't always completely copy a pro build because they're definitely going to be better than you, and they might be able to use items more to their advantage than you. Like, for example, building like Yomu's Ghostblade. If you have trouble hitting your active, which, that's something that I had to deal with when I was learning, you may want to avoid that just because that's an extra button you have to press, whereas a pro, that's like breathing for them. They don't even notice it. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, or Blade of the Ruined King on people like Zed. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of... I take Zed... I use Zed as an example for this because just talking about items for a minute, champions that need actives or that use actives in a combo, like Zed, for example, his ultimate... all the damage that you do as soon as you mark somebody is then reproduced again, and then it procs and it explodes and deals damage to that person. So with Blade of the Ruined King, when you when you hit somebody with that, it uses it so that Blade of the Ruined King active that you use then procs again as damage part of the ultimate. And if you don't use that, then you're not like getting the full potential out of it. So you may not think that that's a big deal, but in Zed in particular, if you're not using that active, it's a waste of an item. In fact, significantly so, because it's much more effective if you were to go like Bloodthirster on him and gain more damage and not have to worry about an active, and you'd still get the same amount. You'd get lifesteal from it, like because of that active, it makes him significantly better. So when you're looking at these builds and you see an active or something like that, remember, like I need to be using this because the pros, obviously, they built it for a reason. They built it for the active, and if you're not using the active, then you're wasting the build, and then you're not being effective.
Exactly.
All right, so those are your build websites to go to. Recommended has actually been really good of late. Like I think there was a statistic that I read somewhere, or maybe Cheer Jaden told me that the recommended builds that Riot has for champions has actually increased the win rates of those champions by like 15%.
Ghostcrawler, I think.
Ghostcrawler,
when he was
okay.
on.
Yeah, so that's a big deal, like a really big deal. Like
Huge.
that's really good, actually. So don't think that the recommended is bad because it's just telling me what to build. Like no, it's not. That's not necessarily true. But you do need to understand that some champions have recommended builds for specific reasons. Like I know Tristana on ARAMs, she's recommended as AP. That's fine. Like honestly, that's fine. In fact, I tell people to go AP on ARAMs. But if you don't have an AD carry and you have plenty of AP, then you should go AD. But that recommended build is not going to tell you to do that. So that's when you want to be like, all right, I'm going to go look up a build for Tristana and see what could work with her. Because the recommended will not.
No.
Yeah. So one of the last things we're going to talk about for supplement sources for League is tracking sites. And this is more of a new, it's definitely a newer idea. LOL King, a lot of you will know about that. But the idea of seeing your progress rather than through your profile on League, you can look at like actual statistics, like broken down statistics on a lot of champions and a lot of games through some of these sites. And in fact, Riot actually recently picked up their tracking game with their new matchmaking system, like their matchmaking profile system. So that's really cool. Like it tells you where the most kills were happening. It tells you when they were happening, when like gold started to fluctuate. So of course, Riot's is really good. That is really new. We did not have that in Season 3. We didn't have that Season 1 through 3. But a lot of these other places we're going to recommend as well because they can give you different ideas, like who is strong right now, who's winning, like what champion is winning the most games, what champion are you winning the most games with, like that sort of thing. So first and foremost, LOL King. They're like the king. They are the pioneers of tracking a champion. They've been around for a really long time. So check them out. I actually have LOL King bookmarked just in case I want to see, how I'm doing. Because, sometimes I want to look past the 10 games on my match history.
Sure.
And then a few newer websites. We'll talk about op.gg first because that's very similar to LOL King. It's a Korean site. I think it's Korean, right?
To be honest, the first I heard of it was today when you mentioned it.
Oh, really? Oh, OP.
Yep.
Oh, so op.gg, brand new to Snaggle. Really good site. It's really simple, super straightforward. It lets you know like percentage of wins to losses. It lets you know the last like 20 to 30 games, how you did, who you played with, what you built, that sort of thing. Like really informative. It tells you what percent of champions you're winning with, like your top played champions, and what percent of those games you're winning. It's just got a lot of like really good basic info, and so that's really good. op.gg, really really strong one. So recommend that. Not in substitute of LOL King, but as a supplement. Like if you're looking for a little bit more of a simpler look at things, then op.gg has some pretty simple stuff with them.
Yep.
And then LOL Nexus. Okay, this one's dangerous, but it can be really useful in the right hands. LOL Nexus is a website where if you're in game, you can type in your name And in the loading screen, for example, you can type in your summoner name, and it will show all the people that are playing, the 5 people on your team, yourself included, and the 5 people on the enemy team. It will tell you what masteries they're running, like your allies or your enemies, and it will tell you what runes they're running. Again, like your allies and your enemies. So this is something that I recommend to junglers specifically, because they can look at it and be like, oh, this Kassadin in the mid lane has no armor seals, for example. So he's going to be sitting in lane with 15 armor. That means that I can gank him, and before he hits level 6, that could be a pretty easy gank for me. So knowing that and going into the game with that info is actually really strong. And a lot of people don't advocate third-party websites like this, but it's just so common nowadays that you take every little bit that you can, and when you get to ranked, you'll notice.
Yeah, and this is definitely a thing that you're probably going to use more when you get better. Like when you're learning, it's not something you really have to worry about too much, because you can just kind of get yourself bogged down with that information. But once you get better and you get your head around the game, it's kind of nice to know a little bit what your opponents are running, and you can turn that to your advantage.
Yeah, but like I said, it is you can't be overly critical when you're doing it, like when you're looking at that, because I can't tell you how many times that I will look at a player and be like, oh man, they've been losing a lot of games. Their win rate with this champion isn't that strong. I feel like they've just been playing him in normals and they just feel really confident. So I'll go to gank them, or I'll be like, hey, focus on the Soraka. She's been playing like shit lately. And I'll set my team up to fail, because I'll be like, yo, this silver scrub isn't really playing that well. And then something will happen and I'll actually screw the team over. So you got to be really careful when you're looking at LOL Nexus. Don't just assume that because a player is playing poorly that they suck at the game.
Yeah, or someone, please, definitely don't do this. Someone will look at what their teammates are running or their history and just be like, oh great, yeah, I got this garbage player on my team, we're going to lose. Just like you're hamstringing your team being a jerk, like right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. So it's a dangerous tool. It's a strong one, but it is dangerous, so make sure you're careful with that one. And then one that both Snaggle and I just got told about today, which is really interesting, and it's more of an asset for you as a player outside of the game, is this website called lolskill.net. It's a really cool website where you type in your summoner name and then you can search it, and it gives you statistics on your champions. And you may think, oh, what's different than this? Like, what's different than, LOL King or OP.GG? Like, it tells my percentages, it tells how I'm doing. This one goes into details of how well you're performing over other players. It talks about your KDA, it's all in comparison of other people. So, for example, my Soraka, I play 100% better than other Soraka players. Like, my Soraka is so good that I am actually playing it significantly better than other people.
You are a super Soraka.
I'm a super Soraka, and that's a nice, ego boost to myself. But it also tells me, hey, you're a good Soraka player. Play her more often, as opposed to my Yasuo, where I play actually 14% less better than other players. I know I'm not the best Yasuo player. How bad of a Yasuo player am I compared to other people? So, I know I'm not the best Yasuo player, but maybe that's actually, hey, you kind of need to practice him more. Don't play him in ranked, don't play him in your ranked 5v5s. Learn him more. Get familiar with him more. So it teaches you. It's like, hey, you aren't playing up to par with this champion. Don't play him, because he's not your strongest champion.
Yeah, today I learned I'm not quite at 100%, but I'm 4.6% better than the average Ziggs player. What does it say here? I get 2.9 less average kills, but I die 2.5 less times, and I get 0.4 more assists. So that's that isn't going to help me get better mechanically, or it's not going to maybe help me figure out matchups, but it's nice to know that for this champion that I play a lot, I'm slightly better than the average Ziggs player, so that's pretty great.
Yeah, and that's it's a good thing to look at and be like, all right, well, this happens to be one of my favorite champions. I'm glad that I'm good with them. And so you stick to those champions, and you learn to find champions that you're just significantly better at with. And those are the champions that you should play. I mean, obviously, we always say learn the champions. If you see someone that's interesting, learn them. But, of course, when it comes down to all the nitpicky details of it all, you want to win. And everybody wants to win. So sticking with the people that you know and that you play well with, there's no shame in that.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I like about it is it gives you a goal outside of wins. Like with a team game like this, like they've said on the T-Force podcast, there's always something you can do to help your team. But like, let's be honest, there are times where you can play your face off and you're still going to lose. That's just kind of that. It'll just happen. But with stats like these, it's a separate goal outside of wins. So you can say, you know, with this character I made, I'm going to do my best to get my percentage up. Or, you know, this character, maybe I don't play a lot, but I want to get better with him. I'm going to work to get that percentage up. So especially if you're maybe not playing a lot of ranked, you kind of have another goal outside of just straight wins that you can look at and say, man, I've been playing a couple weeks. I'm just going to, you know, play nothing but Garen top. And hey, look at that. I've gone from being worse than the average Garen player to like 25% better. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's good to track like how well you're doing, and that just gives you feedback. Like everybody's looking for feedback on how they're doing, and you know we could always tell you, oh, you know, you could do this right or you could do this better. But when it all comes down to it, you got to analyze how well you're doing, and this helps you.
Yep.
So those are some really good supplement sites for you guys. And you know, when we decided to do this, like I don't know about you, Snaggle, but I think about League all the time, like all the time. And sometimes you just can't always play. Like, you know, you're at school or something, or you have to go home before you can play. You have to turn on your computer. Shit, you're taking a crap. What are you gonna do? I'm probably gonna get on Surrender 20 and look some stuff up, maybe browse Reddit. But in general, like, I'm thinking about League, and I'm thinking about how I could do some things different. I'm thinking about how I can help other players. I'm thinking about all the things that, you know, League related. So when it comes down to it, you know, playing the game, yeah, it'll teach you a lot, but theorizing and learning from other people, that will also help.
Yeah, we said it before, like, the more work you put into this game, the better you're going to be. If you spend time outside of the game researching and learning and figuring things out, you are automatically, before you even start the next game, you are giving yourself an advantage on the player who just plops down, fires the game up, and jumps in.
Yeah. And with that amount of focus that you bring to like the games that you're playing, you know, oh my goodness, I've been thinking about playing Leona all day. I can't wait. You get excited and you get focused before you're even in the game, and that's important too. So, someone just friend requested me.
Me too.
Accepted friendo. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions when it comes to anything like, you know, what else do we recommend? What do I think about when I'm not playing the game or anything like that? You have any questions on that? Always feel free to add us in game like that character just did, or email us. Anything. We're always here to help.
Yeah, like you said, thinking and talking about League is awesome. Yeah. The more, if it's talking to other people about it, that's great.
I could talk about League all day. Like, I mean, I love this game. I love and hate it, but I love it. And
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I love this game, and it's a hobby, and I will never give it up because I just enjoy the game. So why wouldn't I talk about it with people that share the similar interests? And do that also. If you have people that you know like also enjoy the game, talk to those guys. You know, theorize.
Totally.
Because that'll only make you better. All right. Do you have anything else to add before we cut this loose?
I don't think so. I think we've done it. We did it.
Yeah. Sorry, Badger. Totally. I'll talk to you after this. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to email us over at battlearena@trinityforcepodcast.com. If you have any direct questions that you want answered immediately, you can always tweet at us. I know Snaggle is pretty on his Twitter game. The others are also on their Twitter game a lot, you know, more than I am. So if you're trying to get in contact with me specifically, is going to be a little bit tougher. But that's probably better because other people know more than I do.
Just before we go, also, I'll mention it again. We're getting close to October 25th. Extra Life is coming up. That is where I'm going to play video games for 24 hours straight to raise money for sick kids' hospitals.
Yay!
And I just linked to my page in the Twitch chat, and I'll put it in the description of the YouTube video. And yeah, any help you could give me would be awesome. The money is not going to me. It's going to help kids feel better, and who doesn't want that?
Yeah, definitely. Also, for those of you that are going and or are interested in going, I am going to be at Summoners Con. I think I'm going to be the only, so far as I know, I haven't heard back from Serial Box of the LCS rundown, but I and a couple friends are going to Summoners Con over in Southern California in Burbank. If you are there, feel free to come, hit me up and punch me in the dick, because that is apparently what people are going to be doing.
Yep.
I intend to have a flag pointing me out. So if you want to come, meet me and do exactly what I just said, hit me in the dick, feel free. I'll be there. Or if you want to grab a drink and talk League, I'll do that as well. So
Awesome.
I think that is it, guys. Again, don't forget, always go check out www.TrinityForcePodcast.com. These are on YouTube in their own playlist. And yeah, good luck in everything, guys.
Yes, have fun, learn, get better at this game, and we'll all do it together as a great big Trinity Force family.
All right, guys. You have a good one.
Bye.